Hey guys, welcome to science class today. So this is one of my favorite science experiments that I like my students to participate in. So you're gonna just have to stretch and use your imaginations today, and I'm gonna just kind of show you what you would be doing. But before we do, I'm gonna give you some background information about birds and their beaks, okay? So instead of using hands and their forelimbs right here, like humans use, okay, and other animals use, okay, birds do not have those forearms to use or the hands. And so they have a different unique tool, and it's the beak or a bill, okay? So a bird beak or a bill. They use their beaks as a multifunctional tool. They can groom their feathers, so meaning they kind of clean themselves. So they groom their feathers. They can use their beak to weave nests. They can attack other birds if they need to, or predators. They can use their beak to defend their territories. They also use their beak to communicate. And most importantly, they use their beak to, what would you guess? My favorite thing to do, to capture food. Okay, so they use their beaks to gather their food source. All right, so bird beaks have evolved or changed over time, and they actually evolve and change over time according to the bird and its environment. Okay, so if an animal wants to survive in a certain environment, it has to adapt. So if I was a bird with a lousy beak, when I reproduce and have my babies, my species of birds, we're probably going to just die out. But if we're a strong type of species of bird and we have all the features and adaptations and the specialized structures that we need to survive, then when I reproduce and have my offspring, that means we will be a species of birds that will continue to thrive and continue to be found all over. Okay, so each bird's beak creates a survival advantage. So take, for instance, a heron and a woodpecker. They both have a really long beak, but the heron's beak is much better for capturing fish. So the woodpecker's long, narrow beak is much better for finding insects in the wood, okay? All right, hummingbirds, they have a specialized structure. Their beak allows them to suck out the pollen or the nectar from like certain flowers that have a red tubular shaped flower where they have to really take their narrow beak in order to get the food source that they need. Okay, so I'm going to show you, any little cup that you see on the table is representing a stomach. Okay, so hopefully you've already watched the video that I asked you to watch first, because it showed you a picture of a robin. It showed you a picture of the woodpecker, the warbler, the spoonbill, the duck, the hummingbird, as well as the finch. Okay, so you should have looked at the picture and kind of gone to that video with me before you're watching this video, okay? So when you looked at the beak of all those birds, you saw that the beaks were different. They had a different purpose, okay? So if I'm a robin, this is representing my beak. So you guys saw that they had a pretty short beak compared to like a woodpecker. And the robin uses their beak to go in and dig in the dirt, the ground, okay? And they would look for those earthworms, okay? Oh, and look what this one found. Okay, so this robin just got lucky and found a worm. So this robin would be able to eat, okay? So in class, the whole idea of this experiment would be, I would have 7 students come up and I would allow you to pretend to be this bird using your specialized structure beak to put food into your tummies. And we would time you for about a minute and see how much food you could all get. Well, if I timed myself for a minute, this earthworm or this robin can actually feast on all these worms over here, okay? However, if I gave the robin the woodpecker's beak, so this is representing the woodpecker's beak. Is this woodpecker beak allowing me to get any earthworms at all? Okay, so if I happen to be a robin and over time I maybe inherited some bad genes, okay, those bad traits, and I had a long type of bill or a beak, like this woodpecker, I am not very successful in getting food. So if I said fill your stomach in 1 minute, how much food am I getting with this type of beak? Not very much, right? Okay, so that would be the purpose of this experiment. So again, this is for the robin using the chopsticks, and you can dig in the dirt and find those worms, right? Okay, so the woodpecker, here's his stomach. So woodpeckers, I don't know if you've seen any woodpeckers, but oftentimes you will hear them, and they literally are like, they are tapping that hard and that loud on the trees, like in the neighborhood that I live in, okay? So I can hear them quite often. Again, so they are tapping their little pointed beak, and they are trying to get the food source. So they go to the trees, and they're just tap, tap, tapping, and they try and get their food source. And they like to eat the insects. So look, I just found one. So they go in, their narrow little pointed beaks can go in, and they can find their food source. Oh, that's a big fat insect. It doesn't want to fit through here. Here's another one. Oh, doesn't want to fit through. Okay, so again, the woodpecker was able to find some insects in the tree bark in the wood, okay? All right, this one over here is representing the warbler. So you guys saw the picture of the warbler, had a short, sturdy type of beak because they like to eat seeds, and so they need that sturdy beak. So this is representing the warbler's beak. It's very sturdy and strong. These are my tweezers, and so they can get these little crawling insects, okay, and drop that into their stomach as well. See? Ooh, yum, yum. Whoop, that bug just crawled away. Okay. Okay, so again, the warbler, short, sturdy beak allows the warbler to get the crawling insects off of in the ground. Okay. Now, again, what if I'm the woodpecker or the warbler with this long woodpecker beak? Am I going to have any success in getting those insects out? No, I'm not, right? So again, every bird, every animal has its own specialized structure to allow it to survive. Okay, let's go to the finches. So the finches have a short, sturdy beak as well. It's nice and strong. So it would be like us trying to crack open these nuts. You would use a nut cracker, okay? So this one's gonna get messy. Okay, and now that I have that strong beak that can crack it open, see how it cracks that open? It allows the finch the opportunity to eat the tasty part of the nut inside the seeds, okay? All right, so again, a nutcracker. Again, the finch has a very strong beak that's kind of short and sturdy as well. Let's see, so again, what if I had the robin's beak? Would a robin's beak do a very good job at cracking open the seeds or the nuts? It would not, right? Okay, so finches are actually birds that you can set out healthy bird seeds for, and they can crack those open with that sturdy beak. All right, our next one is the hummingbird. Let me slide these over. Okay, so the hummingbird, again, you saw in the picture, it has a very long, slender type of beak. So you would have to go through, it sucks out that nectar from those red blossoms, and it could feed its tummy. Okay, can you guys see that? So it sucks up the nectar, and it can deposit it into its stomach. Okay, so if I'm the, let's say if I'm even the warbler, a finch, can I use this to enjoy any of that pollen or nectar? Am I going to get anything? So nope, if I happen to be a hummingbird and I have a really short beak, okay, I will not be able to get any of that pollen from those red flowers that I go out flying around to, okay? All right, So next we have the spoonbill. You guys saw the spoonbill. It has a very long beak, kind of flat, so we actually call it a bill. So this would represent like a spoonbill. Okay, so the spoonbill, when it's actually trying to get food in the water, it sticks its bill down in the water, and it just kind of sweeps it back and forth like this. And when it feels like those little minnows or any food source, it kind of just closes in on it and it eats it up. So again, it kind of just sticks its head in, sweeps it back and forth in the water, and it just collects it in there. Okay, so I'll give you a demo with that. I'll put some water in here. All right, so again, this is the spoonbill. It would take its bill. It would kind of be head down in the water, and it would just sweep through back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it could catch its food. Okay, so there's my food source that I caught, and you can put it in his stomach. Okay, we also have a duck. So I'll just keep talking to you as I fill up my water. So ducks love the vegetation found in lakes and streams and rivers and ponds. So they like to eat aquatic plants. So this is going to represent our aquatic plants. So when the duck puts its little bill into the water, he ducks his head in, scoops up the water and the plants that he wants to eat, and when he comes up, his bill stays filled with the aquatic vegetation or the plants, but all the water drains out. So the duck is able to collect the food, but the water just drains out of his mouth. Okay, pretty handy dandy, right? So again, let's say that I'm a duck and I have the robin's type of beak. Am I going to survive if I'm a duck with this robin's type of beak? Or am I going to starve to death? Right? So hopefully with this lesson, you guys can see how important it is that every living organism, okay, for you guys, it's easier to understand, every animal, every bird has a special beak made just for it that allows it to survive. So again, my hummingbird, it must have that really long, narrow beak, right? If I'm the finch, I need that short, really strong type of beak to crack open those seeds. If I am the duck, I need this kind of strainer type of mouth so I can catch all the aquatic food. If I'm the spoonbill, I need this type of big, large beak or bill that will allow me to eat those little fish or those minnows. Okay. Again, the earthworm we saw, kind of a long beak. It goes into the earth, allowing it to get the worms. Woodpeckers have those long, narrow type of beak, but not as long and narrow as the hummingbird. And what's another one we did? The warbler. The warbler had, again, a very strong type of beak, small and pointed, allowing it to get the crawling insects out of the ground, similar to a robin. Okay? All right. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about bird beaks and how they adapt in order to survive. So I hope you enjoyed science today. Please give me some feedback. How can I help you guys to best learn in our classroom? Okay? All right. It's been fun. I wish you guys could be here to do this. Okay. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.